Yeah, we're in the backpack with the cargo. Let's see, where does he go? We're getting there. Good morning from Munich, Germany. So this is day 2, I think our second full day, and in Germany, but mostly also in Munich. And we decided, my mom and I were like, we're gonna book a little girls trip. So we booked our flights to Germany. And here we are, 10-hour flight, couple jet lag later. So yeah. In true travel fashion, I think this whole vlog is gonna be shot on my phone. But we are going to, how do you say it, Mom? Neuschwanstein Castle in Munich today, and we're gonna vlog it.
Hours later.
Switzerland instead. We're not sure when we're gonna stop. We don't know what's going on.
Many hours later.
Okay, hi from Milan. Hopefully you guys can hear me, but we ended up taking the wrong bus. We were supposed to be on a 2-hour ride to the castle in Germany that inspired Disney. Okay, that was the plan for today. We're in Milan, and we realized like 3 hours in that we were on the wrong bus, but the bus was not stopping, so we went through Switzerland. That was pretty. We saw the Swiss Alps, also pretty. But then we were like, how do we get back to Munich? So we just called an Uber, and we're gonna go to the bus stop in Milan and try to see if we can get back to Munich tonight. Say a prayer for us, okay? We don't speak Italian. I've never been to Italy. It's my first time. Fabio is our Uber driver. Fabio has come to save us. I'm not freaking out. Are you freaking out? The picture of calm. Brittany. Yes. still in Switzerland, but the trains are closed for tonight, and so we have the face was necessary. We have 3.5 hours, and I think we're just gonna walk around. We're in Saint Gallen, Switzerland. We're gonna walk around until 5 a.m. until the trains open up. Here we go. We finally made it back to our hotel in Munich. It's actually been like 28 hours of traveling, as you could probably see. But I'll fill you guys in later. I'm going to take a long sleep. So you guys, I am actually back in the States. It's been like 6 months since that vlog was recorded. And honestly, it's just taken me some time to edit this video purely because I had not wanted to go through that day again. I feel slightly traumatized from that day, but I did want to record it just for like the memory, something for my mom and I to look back on and just kind of laugh at, because we do make jokes about it. Trust me, we do. But anyway, I wanted to recap what had happened in the vlog in case it wasn't clear, because that day, you guys, was insane. It was a 28-hour travel day. We stayed up the whole night. We did not sleep. It was a lot. So we'll start from the beginning. My mom and I in August wanted to take a week-long trip to Germany, just as a girls trip. We both love Germany and we just wanted to spend some time there together. So we went to Munich, and one of the things that was on my mom's bucket list was to go, and I'm not gonna be able to say it again, was to go to Neuschwanstein Castle. This castle is supposedly like one of the most beautiful places in Germany. It's like on every travel destination list. It's the castle that inspired Beauty and the Beast. And that's what I want to do. I was like, oh, I'm game. Like something Disney, I'm totally there. So what's supposed to happen is it's really hard to get to the castle. So they have like a all-inclusive like bus thing that you can buy that will bus you there and then bus you back. And so that's what we were planning to do. We bought our tickets, and then that morning we woke up bright and early, walked ourselves to the bus station, and then quickly realized that like German transportation is its own thing. Like it is something else. Especially if you don't speak German, that's kind of a hard part. But we had enough sense. We found one of the bus attendants and we showed him like our bus ticket, and we were like, this is where we're supposed to be. Can you please help us find our bus? And he was like, yeah, it's stall, like whatever, like stall 1, go to stall 1. And so we went to stall 1, we got on the bus, and we were like, oh, this must be it. And we were kind of thinking like, oh, if we're not in the right place, then the bus driver should come check our tickets and be like, yay or nay, you know, like get off my bus or you're in the right place. No one checked our tickets. And then the other sign that we were like, okay, that's a little strange, but nothing crazy, is the bus left 5 minutes early. And we have some friends that live in Germany. They were like, yeah, the train system and the bus system in Germany is not up to standards. They're always a little late or a little early, never really on time, so like nothing to worry about. And so we were like, okay, cool. So we're sitting on the bus, and it's supposed to be a 2-hour bus drive to the castle, and we're chilling. And keep in mind, the castle is in Germany. So I think the big part of this is we didn't bring our passports because we thought we were being like good tourists and keeping our passports in the safe. We learned our lesson, okay. But so we didn't have our passports because we were supposed to be staying in Germany. And get on the bus, 2-hour drive. My mom and I are just chilling the whole time, talking, whatever. 2.5 hours goes by and we're like, surely we're almost there, right? And the bus driver's not saying anything. Nobody on the bus is saying anything. It's just super quiet. And we're just like, okay. At the 3-hour mark, I had enough sense to look at my phone, like look at where we were on Google Maps, and I was like, Mom, we are in Switzerland. And I was just like, where are we going? So then that's when the chaos started, and we were just like, we're on the wrong bus, but what are we supposed to do? Because it's not like I can lean over to the person next to me hello, I don't speak German, but also, hi, where are we going? Kind of proves we're not supposed to be on this bus. And I was like, I don't know the repercussions in Germany. Like, you don't want to do anything illegal in another country. So I was like, I don't know the repercussions of like getting on the wrong bus / getting a free bus ride to wherever the heck we're going. So I didn't want to raise any flags of like, hey, we're doing something wrong, we're not supposed to be here. So my mom and I were basically just like, we have to ride this one out. Like, we have to wait, and the very first stop is when we will get off and try to hightail it back to Munich, back to Germany. And so at this point, I was like texting Alex, and it's 5 a.m. at his time because he was still in the States. And I was like, so don't be alarmed, but we're in Switzerland. And he immediately woke up, immediately started freaking out, was like tracking my destination every 10 minutes in his phone. Still, he has screenshots of my location going from Munich all the way down to Milan, like at every 10-minute increments. It's crazy because he was like, do I call into, like, what do I do? You know, casual husband freak out. Anyway, my mom and I were just like, okay, we have to ride this one out. And I was anxious the whole time. She was a cool cucumber this entire trip. I was like, what is going on, you know? And basically we saw like 4 countries we were not expecting to see on this trip. We went through Liechtenstein, Switzerland, ended up in Italy, which my first time in Italy, I was kind of excited. And then going back up, we went to Austria, which has been on my bucket list, but that is not how I wanted to see Austria, okay? So anyway, the very first stop is in Milan. And immediate red flags when we like pulled into a bus stop that was like, welcome to Italy. And I was just like, oh dear, oh dear. And so we stop at this gas station, and I was like, how in the world is it this bus's first stop? Like, and I get off the bus, and at the very top of the bus, there's a sign that says, and I'm going to say this wrong. Okay. I already know. Canes. It was going to France. And I was just like, yeah, Mom, we're getting off the bus now. We stopped at a gas station where the bus stopped off, and we immediately called an Uber to take us to another bus stop that was going back to Munich. And so you guys saw, like, we get in the Uber, we go to the bus stop, and it was so funny because once we get to the bus stop, we see that our bus driver and the buses come driving into the bus stop, and he's looking like he's looking for people. And my mom whispered to me, she was like, I think he's looking for us. And I was just like, well, he ain't gonna find us because I'm going back to Munich, you know? And so we immediately go online and like buy our bus tickets back to Munich, and we had to wait a few hours. So we ended up kind of doing a little sightseeing, which was actually like one of the coolest parts of the trip. Don't think I'm gonna go back to Italy. This whole experience has kind of ruined Italy for me. I didn't love Milan. It was very touristy to me, and my anxiety was peaking. So I was just like, this is not the place for me. So we were waiting, we waited a few hours for our bus to arrive to go back to Munich. And so my mom and I just ended up staying at the bus stop for like 30 minutes. Like, we got there 30 minutes early at the bus stop, and we were waiting for our bus to arrive. And so we're just kind of like watching what was going on around us because we were making sure, we were like, we are not missing this bus. We are going to figure this out. We are going to be the first people on this bus, right? And so we were watching, and it was just like people were getting on a bus. Like, that was it. You show your ticket and you're on the bus. And so we were like, okay, cool. Because keep in mind, we didn't have our passports, and we were just like, we are in another country trying to get back to a different country. We're a long way from home, you know, like, and we don't have our passports. And so everything was good and ready to go. It was like 5 minutes before our bus was supposed to arrive. And this couple literally right next to us, this woman starts screaming at the bus attendant in French. And I can speak very broken French, like, and I can understand just little bits and pieces. And so after about 10 minutes of her full on screaming at this man, I understood she was saying like, passport, don't have my passport. And I was like, what's going on? And so basically the verbal fight escalated into like a physical fight. And so this couple was like physically fighting with this bus attendant. So the police were called, the Italian police were called and came to the bus station. And then basically at that point, I think what happened was like the bus attendants, like, to me, they seemed very prideful in what they did, which is fine. But like now they started to be like rude and really demanding to the rest of the passengers. And so at this very moment, they weren't doing this from what we could see before, but since the police were called and the police were there watching these bus attendants, they all of a sudden were like, we need to see everybody's passports. Immediately pull them out. And my mom and I were like, you've got to be kidding me. And so we had pictures of our passports, but of course they didn't take it and they wouldn't listen to us or try to help us either. Like legitimately, this Italian bus attendant, like I told him, I said, hey, I'm trying to talk to you about the situation. I was trying to explain to him and he puts his hand in my face like this, which no, that has never happened to me. I was like, I'm a pretty understanding person, but I was like, this seems a little extra, you know, like why do you have to put your hand all up in my face like that? And he was like, you're not getting on my bus. Go. And he was like, it's not my problem. And I was just like, intro, like my first time in Italy, intro to the Italian people, I'm not loving it here, you know? And so finally, after I had like the tiniest minty bee and like a tiny cry to my mom, because I was like, we're gonna be stuck here. We're gonna be stuck here. And my phone was blowing up with like my sister and Alex texting me like, do we need to get you an emergency passport? Do you have to go to the embassy? Like, it was just very overwhelming. And my mom was like, chill this whole time. She was insane. So I had a little cry right then and there. That was the only time I was ever like down and like kind of freaking out. And so my mom pulled over this other attendant lady and who was a little bit nicer. And she was like, you could try the trains because they don't often track passports on the trains. So you could try your luck getting a train from Milan to Munich. And we were like, okay, I guess that's what we're gonna have to do. And so honestly, thank God to my sister because she had her like little European extravaganza a couple years before. So she had figured out the train systems and she was like on the phone with us, telling us exactly what to do, telling us what app we needed to download, where we needed to put our passport number in the app so like we were good to go and we could ride all the trains. Honestly, thank God for her. She saved us. So yeah, my mom and I hopped on the train and like figured out the train system. We're now, in my terms, I think we're pros on the train systems because we had to. It was like figure it out or get stranded in Milan without your passport. So we ended up taking the trains from Milan all the way through Switzerland. And one thing that we learned right there on the spot was it was gonna take us 9 hours to go on a train from Milan back to Munich. And at this time, it was like 5 p.m. So we were like, okay, this is gonna be an all-night thing. This is gonna be an all-nighter. Like, that's fine. I just wanna get back to Munich. So we're on the trains and we get stopped in Switzerland because apparently the trains everywhere in Europe stop at 2 a.m. and they close down, everybody goes to bed, and then they start up again at 5 a.m. So we were, as you guys saw in the video, basically stuck in St. Gallen, Switzerland for 3 hours. Everything was basically closed. Like we didn't have a place to go. So we were just ended up like walking around. And this is the part where I feel like I'm actually traumatized because like being in a different country at night with 0 sleep and you don't belong there, like you don't have a place to go on the streets of a place that you don't know is very scary in my opinion, especially being a woman. Like 2 women, me and my mom, just like on the streets, that to me was really scary. But it was totally fine. Like actually I was pleasantly surprised how safe it was, like compared to if we were walking around a US city. Like no one really approached us. We kind of swerved around situations where we were like, yeah, we don't really want to be next to them. So like we were walking around and like kind of dodging situations, you know, but we were fine. And it was actually like better than I would have anticipated, you know? But anyway, I was the happiest person alive when we sat our butts down on that first train at 5 a.m. headed back to Munich. And I actually think I did. I think I cried a little when we took that final train from Austria into Munich. Like when we sat down and it said Munich and we were just like, thank God. I don't think I've ever prayed more in my life than I did on that trip. And like, honestly, I was so grateful that we got back to our hotel in one piece. Like we were disgusting. We smelled bad. It was a time, but I just looked at my mom and I was like, I have never been so grateful to be back where I'm supposed to be safe, to have a bed, to be warm. Like it was, guys, it was a trip. And even thinking back on it now, like it's a great story to tell. It makes a fantastic story, but in the moment, my anxiety was so high. Parts of it were slightly terrifying. And I'm just honestly so grateful that my mom was there with me, because if I was doing a solo trip, I would have just like broke down crying all the time. So I'm just really glad that she was there with me and we made it back okay. So yeah, you guys, that's the story. That was my traumatizing trip, but also like super exciting trip. And I try to be positive and stay on the grateful side of like, we were only supposed to go to Germany, but we ended up seeing 4 new countries. Like, that was cool. But yeah, that was our trip. So if you have any questions, comment down below. I'd be happy to answer them. And I'll see you guys in the next vlog. Bye.